Hi there, and welcome, everybody. This is the Backlot 605 podcast. We are based here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I am one of the hosts of the Backlot 605 podcast. I am Casey Calderman. Join with me for this live stream of the short film Pale Dawn is my co-host of the Backlot 605 podcast, Mr. Brian Mensing.
Hello, how's it going?
It is going great, Brian. We are working through a little technical difficulties. I think that's just the magic of movie making, isn't that? Right there, technical difficulties. So we're working through those. We're trying to get Doug on the stream with us. So hopefully Doug will be able to join us for this. But if Doug can't join us, you know what? We're going to have the star, the writer, the one of the creative minds behind Pale Dawn. We have Daryl with us. Daryl, how are you?
Doing pretty good tonight, thank you. A little chilly, but that's expected.
Hey, that's all right. That's why I'm glad we get to do this virtually. We all get to stay nice and warm, nice and snuggled in our houses, and be able to check out the film. So I don't know if we'll kind of do a little introduction to the film, and I'll let Daryl go ahead and do that, and then we'll play the film, and then right after, if you guys are watching this on Facebook and YouTube, you can send us questions throughout the stream. We'll be able to see them, and we'll be able to ask Daryl after the screening and Doug as well. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about the film quick here beforehand before we jump into it. But the movie that we are going to be watching here in just a second is Pale Dawn, which is a sequel to the short film Pale Luna. Daryl, if you want to give us a quick introduction to the film, and then we'll jump right into it.
All right, well, Pale Luna is a movie we made 3 years ago, and it's based on a creepypasta story, and we had a lot of fun making it. It was an awesome film, awesome experience, and when it was done, everybody said, but what happens next? And so we sat down and we wrote the movie that says what happens next. This is a continuation of the first movie. I think it goes in a lot of good directions. I'm really happy with it. We got funding from Southwest Minnesota Arts Council to put it together. So I think we had a good opportunity, and I think we have a pretty good film. I hope you all like it.
Awesome.
So the question everybody was asking, what happens next? We're going to show you what happens next. So what I'll do here is I'll drop all three of us out, and we'll begin the stream. So here is Pale Dawn.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'd like to look at your microfilm machine, please.
Oh, yeah, sure. Here's the key, and the microfilm machine is down the hall to the right.
Okay.
Weather-wise, it doesn't get much better, which brings us to our next song. We've got one from Mary Bew, Fold Inside.
Hi there. Can I help you?
Are you Michael Nevins?
Yes.
I'm Mary Byrnes. You're the man who found my daughter.
Oh. Come in. Come in. Here, have a seat.
This is from before she. Would you watch it with me? It's been 40 years and I still miss her every day. Thank you for finding her for me. Michael? Can I call you Michael?
Of course.
Michael, I need help. Your help. She was found a year ago and nobody's been caught. Nobody's been charged. Can't you find who did this to her? I don't know. I just. You're the one who had the game, the one who said where she was. Can't you find where they came from? Who made them?
Let's go in the other room. Come here. Now this is from the games. There were 6 of them. I finished them all. I got the coordinates, but it doesn't mean anything. I mean, they're all over the country, and I can't make a connection.
Well, it's still more than I had. The FBI just told me they'd call when they found anything, and they never did.
That's what they told me too when they took the games. Never heard a word.
So there's nothing else we can do.
I might have some of my old college computer stuff in the basement. I could go take a look. All right, hold on. I found it. I think this is from that day. Computer Club. And there he is. Gabe Nelson. I guess that's where we start. Hey, Gabe? Gabe Nelson?
Yeah,
Michael Nevins. We went to Nygaard Academy back in like the 80s.
Nygaard Academy. Well, that was a hell of a long time ago.
I wanted to ask you a question, see if you knew anything about old computer games you had at a swap meet. They were text adventures. One was called Pale Luna.
Oh, yeah. Why? It's like I said, man, that was a hell of a long time ago. Why, what's up?
I think this is from that day that you and Jessica Johnson.
Oh, wow. This is a blast from the past. All right, let me think. I kind of remember them. I don't know how much good this will do you. I walked into the office and they were sitting there on the desk, so I grabbed them up and I tried to play them, but man, they were buggy as hell, so I just dumped them. Why, did you end up with them?
Yeah, I did.
Well, sorry, man, that's all I remember.
That's okay. Thanks anyhow, Gabe. Appreciate it.
Say, dude, the feds were here last year looking for those games. What's the deal?
That's what we were trying to find out, Gabe. Thank you for the help. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, they left me a phone number in case I remembered something. You want me to go get it for you?
You could.
No, I got the number. Thanks.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by.
All right. Yeah. Thanks again, Gabe. Nice seeing you.
You too. We're open all summer, so if you want to go fishing, they got walleye right down there. Really good fishing. So I'll give you a good rate on the room.
All right. Might take you up on that.
All right.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
We'll see ya.
Well, that was a bust.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to go get something to eat?
Sure.
All right. Coffee and pie sound okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right.
What can I get for you?
We'll have some coffee. And what kind of pie do you have?
Cherry, apple, and rhubarb.
I'll have apple, please.
Cheese ice cream?
I know.
Coming right up.
Ooh.
So you have the federal agent's phone number.
Well, yeah, they gave it to me when they first contacted me. I still call them now and then to see if there are any new developments. They didn't give it to you?
Well, they did, but I tossed it out. I didn't think I was going to look into this stuff again. Didn't expect to run into you. So is your husband waiting for you at home? Do you need to call him, let him know you're okay?
Oh, no husband.
Oh,
When Luna died, disappeared. It was rough. My marriage fell apart. When my husband left, I did too. Went back to Colorado, be closer to my family.
I can't imagine how difficult that must have been for you.
So, your turn. How can you be out on chasing phantoms without having to check in?
Nobody to check in with. My wife and I broke up about 15 years ago. No hard feelings, just happier away from each other. So what do you do for a living?
I'm a speaker on what it's like to lose a child.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It helps me to talk to people. And I want to help them too. In fact, that's what I'm doing back in Minnesota. I have a speaking engagement in Minneapolis. It's how I deal with it.
I'm sorry I haven't been a lot of help so far.
I appreciate you trying. Thank you.
Agent Barlow? Hi, this is Mary Byrnes. Say, I'm giving a talk tomorrow in Minneapolis, and I'm just wondering if you have anything new on Luna's case.
Nothing, unfortunately. We're still checking out Nevins.
Okay, well, I was just wondering.
Off the record, though, nothing, unfortunately. Everything that we have checked out has been nothing but dead ends. I'm sorry. I wish I had something better for you, but I don't.
It's okay. Thank you for trying.
Goodbye.
Dan, did you catch that?
Some of it.
It's been a whole year, and they've got nothing. Nothing.
Sorry.
Well, Michael, I have to get going. I have to get ready for my talk tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, hey, can I have that card? I'm going to keep doing some digging, see if we can find anything.
Sure. Keep me in the loop, okay?
Will do. Have a good day. God, he was there. What the hell? Excuse me, is Dean Jenkins in today?
Oh, I'm sorry, he's not. I'm not sure when he'll be back, but would you like to leave a message?
No, that's okay. Thanks anyhow. Les? Les Field?
Excuse me.
Michael Nevins, we used to have classes together.
Well, how the hell are you?
Doing good, doing good.
So, what are you up to these days?
I'm retired now. How about you?
Tenured professor. Too good to pass up. What brings you in here?
Oh, I was looking through some of my stuff, and back in 85 or so, we had this advisor, and I can't think of who it is. I looked in the yearbook, and I can't find any record of it.
Oh, hell. It's that guy. Come on back.
Borkland. Larry Borkland. Guy was only here once a semester.
That's weird. I mean, I tried looking him up. I couldn't find him in the yearbooks or faculty list or anything.
Well, you wouldn't. Turns out he lied on his resume. Big time, too. They fired us and found out. Completely expunged them from the records.
How did you end up with this?
Well, they were cleaning out some old records and they threw it out. I always wondered what the deal was on them, so I held on to it.
All right. No big deal. I mean, I just found it in all my old papers and I couldn't place them. It was just bugging the hell out of me. Thanks a lot.
Now, this wouldn't happen to be tied to that missing girl you found, would it? Yeah. The police were here about a year ago checking everybody out. They did a pretty thorough job of it, too. There's a lot of nervous people around here. But I forgot about this guy.
All right. I've actually still got the detective's number. I'll give him a call tonight and tell him about it. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate this.
All right.
Riverside, Minnesota, 1985. That's him. Mendota. It's about 3 hours from here. Hey, Mary, it's Michael. I imagine you're about in the middle of your speech right now. I just wanted to call and let you know I think I might have a lead on the guy who wrote the games. On my way to talk to him now, and I'll call you back if I find anything. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bardo here.
Yeah, this is Michael Nevins. I'm part of the Pale Luna case. I'm the one who found the games.
Yes, Nevins, I know who you are.
I just wanted to call and let you know I think I have a lead on the guy who wrote them. I'm on my way to talk to him now.
What? No, don't. This is a federal investigation.
No, it's okay. I'm just going to talk to him, okay? I want to ask him a couple of questions.
Just don't do this, okay, Nevins? Just call
Sorry,
the local.
driving. Gotta go. I'll call you later.
Nevins? Hello?
Come in. What do you want?
Are you living in Oakland?
Yeah, who the hell are you?
I'm Michael Nevins.
Who?
Michael Nevins. I was in your computer class at Nygaard Academy in the 80s.
Oh, well, what are you doing here now? Too late to complain about your grade.
I just wanted to ask you about some computer games. Text adventures.
Oh, I haven't thought of those in years. You play one of those?
I played 6 of them, and I finished them. I know what the endings mean. I'm the one who found that first little girl, Luna.
Luna. Which one was she?
In Riverside, by the college.
It's kind of hard to keep them straight after all these years. Hand me that red scrapbook up there on the shelf, would you? Oh, her. She was a bad one.
What do you mean a bad one?
A bad kid. Let me tell you a story.
Larry, can I have a turn? Oh, fine, Annie. Push me.
I saw her shove a little girl in the playground one day.
Annie! 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 Call the ambulance. You said you wanted to push. Laura Johnson, I'm calling your mother. Keep her still. We're on there.
So I killed her.
There, how do you like it? Laura? Laura?
And you know what? I was happy I did it. She wasn't going to hurt my little sister again. I made the world a better place that day by getting rid of a bad person. Made it better lots of times.
By killing children.
The bad ones, every town I went to had at least one. But you weren't there. You don't know what it's like. Luna pushed the little girl just like Laura shoved my sister. I saw a chance to do something good and I took it. Turned out to be kind of fun.
Why the games then?
Because I knew how. That was fun too.
You're a sick bastard.
Am I?
I'm calling the police.
Look at me. What can they do to me that's worse than this now? I wouldn't do that.
Shut up.
What's the matter? You not killed anybody before? It's fun. You ought to try.
Shut up! 911? I need the police out here right away. Larry Borkland's house. Judgment Day. I hope you're ready.
I guess we'll find out.
This way. He's right in here.
He's dead.
This is Special Agent Bardo, FBI, here to take over the case.
Tell them to get the recovery teams ready. We've got more.
Is this it?
Well, this is where we park. We have to hike from here. I just didn't want her to be forgotten.
you drop this. What's this?
It's a journal. They have to pay, Michael.
Who does?
People like Portland, predators, child molesters. They have to get caught, Michael. They have to be stopped. They're everywhere I go, every city I go to. I didn't care so much the rest of them, but I needed to be there for this one. I wanted him to see me. I wanted him to know me before he died. I'm sorry. Thank you for finding him. This is the one that really mattered, Michael. I really appreciate it. I've got to go now, Michael. Goodbye.
All right, there it was, ladies and gentlemen. Pale Dawn. Hopefully, it worked a little better for you than some of us had here. We're having some lagging issues, but I blame the South Dakota cold on that. I do. I will blame that. I will blame the South Dakota weather on anything I can. I blame it on internet problems. I will blame it on anything. So that's what I will chalk it up to: South Dakota weather.
I'm
It
okay
makes
with that.
everything run slower.
Yep. Makes me run a little slower, so I get why the internet would do the same thing. So
You don't run.
I don't run. That's true. That's true. Let's jump into it. We're gonna have Daryl here for a post screening Q&A. So please, if you are watching this on Facebook and YouTube, send in our questions. Send them in on the comments. We'll be able to see them, and we'll be able to talk about them here on the stream with Daryl. So I guess the first thing we do have a question is about where the film was shot, and you mentioned the funding that you did get for this film, Daryl, from the Southwest Minnesota Arts Council, correct?
Yes, it is. It was almost entirely shot in Southwest Minnesota. Jackson, Laverne, Slayton, Minnesota, Worthington is where we shot the farmhouse scenes. We did shoot one scene up in Coleman, South Dakota. That's where our lead actress, Nancy Reiki, lives. And that was actually Nevins' house.
See, that's one thing I think we've talked about with multiple guests from this area is being able to shoot films in this area, because I mean Southwest Minnesota is less than an hour drive away from here. Like you said, Laverne and Slayton are I think Slayton might be the furthest that you had mentioned, and that's only an hour and a half drive from Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
And so I think what's kind of one of the biggest things that you wanted to produce with this film in terms of, you know, being able to give light to shooting films in this area. I mean, that's a big thing that we've always wanted to help, you know, kind of showcase is being able to have movies in this area. Was that also a goal that you and Doug had for this movie, is kind of showcase the scenery of Southwest Minnesota?
It was, because we actually showed our first one at Jackson Center for the Arts, and the administrator there actually had been on the Southwest Minnesota Arts Council board and said you ought to submit it for a grant application. And she said they never get requests for film. And it turns out that's pretty much true. Everybody, you know, has their specialties, and they're good specialties, but nobody ever went to them and said, I would like to make a movie. I would like to use local talent, you know, hire local people, shoot it in local, you know, locations, and just do a movie in Southwest Minnesota. And it worked very well. You know, everybody was very accommodating for us.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay.
You got something on the tip of your tongue, I can tell.
You do, just because you like to talk a lot.
I do.
Another one that actually came in is how long did it take for you guys to make this? You did mention before we started this year that, you know, this was all filmed during COVID and whatnot. So did that make the process of making the film take longer, or about how long did it take you in regards to making the film?
It made it a lot longer. We actually started writing the sequel, probably a year and a half ago. It went through several revisions. We had a lot of input, and then I believe it was August of 2019 is when I submitted the grant application. They approved it in January, and we had 1 year to do it. But then when COVID hit, they actually gave us an extension. We actually didn't get around to doing the auditions until June, when things had calmed down a little, and we still had to follow guidelines. But, you know, we were hoping to do the auditions in March and start shooting in May.
Right.
And so basically we were about 4 or 5 months behind where we wanted to be. Like I said, they did give us a grant extension. We had an extra 6 months to finish, and that worked out nicely.
How long did you guys end up taking from beginning to completion of the film?
We finished shooting in, I believe, the first week of August, and then it was about 2.5 to 3 months of editing. We have a really good editor. He's from Sioux Falls, Jeff Lambert at Promotional Video, and wonderful, wonderful job on it. You know, he really takes his time. He makes sure everything matches up.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I guess from the time I started writing it, maybe 2 years from this time we started, you know, auditioning and everything, realistically about 7 or 8 months. From the time we started shooting, probably about 4 months.
The question I always kind of have with this is like, I mean, I talked about before we jumped on the stream tonight for the film, that we had Doug on the show when Pale Luna came out, and he had talked about, you know, casting processes and shooting locations. From what it seems like, especially in South Dakota, Southwest Minnesota, that's really not the hard part of shooting a movie, because most people, like you said, are eager and willing to help and want to help. Is that something you found in doing both of these short films, is that, you know, people are ready and eager and want to be a part of a movie? Because like you said, with the Arts Council, it's not very often that these things happen in our area.
Right. The only problem we had in either movie was when we shot Pale Luna, we thought we had permission to shoot out at Lake Alvin, and it turns out we didn't have the proper forms, and that kind of threw a wrench into it. We did have to get the paperwork straightened out. But for Pale Dawn, I'm friends with the mayor of Slayton, for instance, and I asked if we could shoot there, and he says, absolutely. There's nothing in the guidelines. You don't have to get permission from the city. If you wanted to block off the street, we'll block off the street. when we shot the diner scene, that was in Jackson, Minnesota, you know, and I called down there and they were absolutely tickled. He wanted to know when we'd be there. He said, I'll have someone let you in. Shoot all day. It doesn't care how long you take. And we shot it and I was helping clean up. And the person they had there says, nah, we'll take care of that. Don't worry about it. You know, and just absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I thought of when you talk about the diner scene is like, I can just imagine you getting on the phone with someone and you show up there and they have the hot apple pie waiting for you already, welcoming you with open arms to shoot in their restaurant.
Yeah, pretty much exactly that. And, you know, he just couldn't believe we wanted to use his restaurant for, you know, a movie. And a lot of people have that attitude. They get such a kick out of it. And I guess I'm that way too. You know, I'm still amazed when, you know, we get to do it.
So I guess the question I have here for you is, you know, in looking back at Pale Luna here in comparison to this here, you know, Pale Luna is literally like a third of the length of this here. What made you decide that you needed to, I mean, obviously as you're writing it, to realize that you're needing to basically almost triple the time to tell the next chapter in the story?
Well, Pale Luna, we were not really limited, but we were basing it on a creepypasta story. So we kind of started with the story and went to the end of the story, you know, did some fiddling around in there, but basically we told that story. With this one, I probably went through about, I don't know, a dozen revisions where we were going to go this way with it or go that way with it, or this is going to happen. And, you know, I'm writing wonderful scenes and they're great. And then it turns out, let's not take the movie that way. Let's go a different direction. You write something else. And basically this is the story we wanted to tell. And that's just how long it turned out to be.
Mm-hmm. See, I think that's one of the best things about being, you know, an independent filmmaker and a filmmaker with really no constraints as far as story goes. The story is as long or short as it needs to be told. I think that's one of the great benefits of that. And along with that, when I talked about, you know, we interviewed Doug when Pale Luna came out, he had mentioned that one thing he would have changed in that was adding a stinger ending, one that kind of leaves the audience kind of wanting more while also wrapping up this story. And for me, you know, the sequel does that with setting up that we could have multiple sequels while also having the payoff here at the end of this story too. Was that something you and Doug talked about, was maybe we should have this big kind of, you know, swing for the fences type of ending for this one?
Oh, definitely. We didn't want to have a nice, happy wrap it up. I don't think that was ever a consideration, you know, that they're going to walk off hand in hand in the sunset. That's just not the way this story was ever going to turn out. We did have different ways it could have ended, and we have about 4 different movies it could have set up. We had these plans for basically a feature film that would go from this one, and I don't think we'll get to that. The next story idea we have is somebody said, well, what is Mary going to do next? Because I don't think she's done. And so we may have a story saying what Mary's up to now, you know, and just a lot of ways to go with it. And I like that.
And I think that's one great thing about like mystery novels, books, television, is that you create characters where you're like, well, I want to see what they do, and I want to see what they do, and I want to see which stories happen in between and how they all kind of intertwine.
Right.
Yeah. Brian, did you have another question?
I did. I mean, just for the sake of, like, obviously when you guys were making Pale Luna, you know, it wasn't until the film was completed and how you did it that people were asking the question, what comes next and whatnot, that puts the gear, you know, puts everything in motion, and you start writing for this one and whatnot. In writing for this one here, and like you said, there are basically 4 or 5 like plot points in your brain that says this is where we could go with this here. Do we expect to see that we are going to see hopefully the next iteration, you know, at some point, hopefully? Or do we leave it for our imagination to see what's gonna, you know, how we think it's gonna end?
These movies are actually turning out pretty affordable. With this grant, I think it was a $7,000 grant, and I think we did a pretty good movie with it, you know. And it's just, if we can get another grant, in fact, I do have a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Council now to do a different movie, you know, not part of this one, but I would love to get another grant if I could, or maybe try to raise money on, crowdsourcing and tell another aspect of the story. One part in here, you notice that Agent Bardo was looking through the drawer and she found more games. And I definitely have plans for where to go with that. That was actually one of the earlier drafts that would have been setting up the feature-length movie, but there's definitely stories you can tell with that one. Mary walking away and him not calling, there's stories that can be told there. And I would love to keep doing just short movies that are part of this universe. The DHEU, the Daryl Hrdlicka Extended Universe.
Yes, I like it. A question we do have coming in here is from a writing standpoint, did you start with the end of this movie in mind this time? Was that, the ending here and then work your way backwards, or was it kind of a fluent motion where you start at the beginning and see where it ends up?
I kind of started at the beginning when we were still showing Pale Luna. I actually had the idea for how this one was going to start. It was going to be with her, finding the microfilm and then just showing up at his door and saying, "Are you Michael Nevins?" And yes, and you are. And I'm Mary Byrnes, and then holds up the paper. "You're the man who found my daughter," and just bang, and we're into the next story. And from there, it kind of developed. It came in bits and pieces. I never had a good full outline, and like I say, it changed course a lot of times. I had to leave out a lot of scenes that I loved, but they didn't fit this story. It would have just detracted from.
And I know you've worked on other projects from around the area. I mean, one that we've talked about on Backlot 605 was Loon Lake, which I thought was just another great movie, a great Minnesota movie too. What have you learned from working on other films and other artistic projects that's helped you now this time doing another short film in the Pale Dawn universe?
Right. I love watching the crew and finding out how everything goes together. That helps so much when you're trying to make your own, is just seeing how the pieces go together, who knows how to do what, and let them do the job. Do not micromanage. As an actor, it's one of the hard things for me is when I wrote it, I have it in my head. I basically have the finished film, and then something happens and it deviates, and I want to complain, but I have to check that and say, let's think about this. Is this better? Originally, Larry Borkland I had acting in a completely different matter, but Dennis Bossman just came with such energy and such a personality to that character, and it's like, okay, let's do it that way, and let it develop. And that's the hardest thing for me, is not trying to micromanage and say, no, that's not in the script, do it this way. And just, you have to sit there and let people do what they know how to do.
And I think that's why film is the ultimate teamwork project. It's the ultimate, getting all your classmates together and the teacher assigns you a project. It's the ultimate version of that, and getting everything together. And man, I think you and Doug have knocked it out of the park with your team the last 2 times. So I think this is, like, for me, I would love to see more in the Pale universe. I would love to see more of what stories you guys have to tell, because I think you guys definitely have stories to tell, and I think that's the biggest thing with any film, is have a story to tell.
Yep.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Looks like we do have another question that came in here. Let's see. A good question coming in. Looks to me that Michael Nevins has found a different serial justice needs to be done person to follow, perhaps to keep her from doing something stupid.
That was actually the recommendation from Nancy Ricci, who played Mary. She said she just has this vision that you start the next movie with him looking at her, looking at the phone, and then putting the phone away and saying, "Mary, wait, let me see that list again." And so the two of them go across the country. That's certainly a possibility. Like I said, one of the comments was, Mary's not done. What happens next? And that could be a very interesting story to follow.
So many different ways you can go with it.
Yeah, could get a Bonnie and Clyde type story there. I like it.
Right, and that's one reason I don't want to have a nice, happy ending. I just want to have open. Let's go somewhere from this. We can go on a tangent. We can do a parallel story. We can, we can go anywhere. And I like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best way to end the movie, is either it leaves it open to a sequel or something else in that world, or you do leave it up to the audience interpretation where they can create their own stories inside their head where these characters go on after this. I think that's my favorite type of storytelling. And I think that from what I'm understanding, that's how you feel too, is leave it open-ended. Maybe you can answer questions later, maybe not. That's up to the audience.
Exactly. It is what it is. It's not, life doesn't end on a neat and tidy note all the time. It's just, you don't know where to go in some situations. And I kind of like that. And actually that ending was one of the last things written. I think we might have actually started filming before we got that particular ending set in place. I just kept revising it. I saw where it was heading and I was going to have it happen this way. And then I'm like, wait, what if she's doing that too? And it's like, okay, write this stuff. And that's how that came about. You see how the story's flowing and you go with it. I lost control of what I was trying to say very early in the process. Was more writing it down and seeing what was happening, just kind of watching it play out.
So, Brian, unless you have another question, I have one final question I do want to leave off on.
No, I was just thinking he's just over here going, not everything is sunshine and puppy dogs. I'm like, that's right. Not everything is sunshine and puppy dogs.
Right.
If 2020 taught us anything, it's that.
Very, very good. Very true.
The last question I have is one we like to do on our podcast is, each week we talk about a different movie, and the final question I always ask people is, what makes a great double feature with the movie we're talking about? So the question I'll leave to you, what would make a great movie to watch alongside Pale Dawn? What's a great movie to watch right after this if you're in that mood right after?
Oh boy, that's a tough one now.
Um,
I have one in mind if I can throw it out there. Just
my first response was Pale Luna, Pale Dawn.
Yeah.
That's actually how we've been showing it in the theaters, and we are going to make a double DVD and hopefully sell it at Last Stop CD Shop. I've been talking to them about it.
Yes. Awesome.
And it works very well as a double feature. It's different tones, but you just see the story from one to the next, and it works really well. I don't know what I would show after it.
The one I would throw out there, because the scene where your character Nevins visits the killer in his house gave me vibes of David Fincher's Zodiac, and that's what I would play right after this if I'm in that mood, because that's also another movie that leaves it up to interpretation at the end of maybe we solved the case, maybe we didn't. I don't know. I think that would make a fun double feature right after this. Is you watch this and you're like, I'm in that suspense, mystery, thriller type of mood. Watch David Fincher's Zodiac.
All right, I'm going to have to look that one up now.
Yeah.
You don't want to end on a high note or anything like that. He just wants to go straight for depressing.
More depressing. I like it. Yes. All right. Well, that's it. That's all the questions I have for us here. Daryl, if you'd like to throw out any plugs or any shout outs to anyone before we wrap this up, where they can find the film going forward, find your guys' work going forward.
Pale Luna is actually on YouTube right now. Pale Dawn is on Vimeo. We are hoping to put them together on a DVD or Blu-ray that will be sold at Last Stop CD Shop. That'll also include bloopers and trailers for it. Hopefully at some point we'll be able to have it on the website on Facebook. And you can look at there. You can, ask questions. As far as shout outs, definitely to Jeff Lambert from Promotional Video. Did an amazing job putting it all together. Doug Gerash, my director, he knows what he's doing. Without him, this would not have happened. And we had some wonderful cinematographers, wonderful sound people, wonderful all the way around. We just had an excellent crew, excellent cast. Most of them are from Sioux Falls. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of stress over a year or so, but it was so much fun. And I'm so happy to see it being showed now.
Good. We're glad we can help share the word on this. And if anyone is looking for those links, I will put them in the Facebook video here and the YouTube video for both movies as well. If you do want to take, do a rewatch or do your own at-home double feature, I'll definitely put the links in there as well. But I'll give a quick shout out. Thank you, Doug and Daryl for allowing us to do this with you guys, host a Q&A. And this was really, really fun. And I'm glad that we got a chance to do this.
Agreed.
Right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you. I'm going to give a quick shout out to if you'd like more movie content, head on over to Backlot 605. You're on there right now. Click on our Facebook page, scroll through it, see what might strike your fancy. We do have a Zodiac episode. I'll throw that out there because I mentioned it already. So, but anyway, thank you all for watching, listening, and I guess until next time, watch more movies.